So today we are going to talk about cold list campaigns, which is just a really hot topic and can be quite controversial because there are those people who say, never use a cold list. But the reality is, if you are in sales and you are in new business development, you're doing it all the time. So let's not hide from it. Let's talk about what are the things that you can be doing. I'm Kendra Lee, president and founder of KLA Group. We work with companies between $1 million and $100 million in annual revenue to build, expand, and optimize their revenue generating systems in sales and marketing. And so that's a frame of reference that I and Lynn will be coming to you from as we talk today. However, the campaigns that we're going to talk about will work no matter what size company you are, but know that we're using them in companies of that size. Now, if you are working from a cold list, you have to have more than emails as your strategy. You have to have a strategy that's going to generate interest and it's going to identify real marketing qualified leads that you can then pass to sales. And the 3 campaigns that we're going to share, we're going to tell you what they are, what they did, the results that we got. We're also going to talk about the pros and cons of each of them so that you can go away thinking, this is what would work for us. This one wouldn't work for us. Okay. We want you able to make decisions like that. All 3 that we're going to talk about, we have run and are actively running with clients, and we run them from HubSpot because we're a HubSpot Gold partner. You'll want to confirm that your system can run them the same way that we did, but it's the campaign process that we're going to talk about with you, and you should be able to implement that. And at the end, because you'll see we've got lots of information packed on the slides, I will share a link to the presentation, to the list service that we use in case you don't have one, and a link to have a one-on-one conversation about your situation if you want to do that. So lots of good stuff happening. And my guest today is Lynn Heide. Lynn is our senior sales consultant here at KLA Group, and she trains in all of our prospecting, consultative selling. She coaches sales reps. She coaches managers who have sales reps. Lynn, it's a pleasure to have you here today.
It's so good to talk to you, especially about this, because as the sales side of the equation, I think I have a way different opinion about cold lists than maybe some other people do.
You know, it's kind of interesting because for all of you, we work on both the sales and the marketing side. On the sales side, we are all accustomed to cold lists. We're accustomed to dealing with people who don't like to do cold calling. And we understand how important that is because it's the one way that you can continue to grow and add contacts to your list. We're also very accustomed to hearing from the marketing side where, oh, no, you don't want to do anything with cold lists. You only want people who have opted in and are interested. So today's goal is to be able to turn your cold prospects into that steady pipeline of, we're going to say, high value revenue driving meetings. I'm going to tell you that's your big, hairy, audacious goal. In between there, it's identifying the people that sales could call to see if they can convert them into a sales qualified lead. We just want to know who are the people that might be interested, and the cold list campaigns can do that. Lynn, would you add anything to that for our goal for today?
Part of the lists are starting with people that you know what your ideal customer profile looks like, so you get the right cold list that you have a higher probability of finding people that need what you do.
Yes. And that's what this will do for you. So, and I'm going to say we've got, as I said, a lot of different stuff that we're covering. If you have questions as we go, put them in the chat. We'll answer them if we can. Otherwise, we're going to do it at the end so that we can get through all our campaigns. All right. I like to start with a poll, and let's see where you are. So are you running cold list campaigns with a purchased or list or a sourced list today? And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, our poll is not here to give you. Okay, so in chat, tell me, yes, you have one and they are working well. Yes, but the results are disappointing, or no cold calls or simple emails, or no, we haven't used cold lists yet. And that points back to what I was just saying about people not wanting to use cold lists. The other thing is sometimes it can be expensive. Lynn, you and I hear some of the amazing amounts of money that people pay for list services.
Well, and the other thing is that there are people who historically have gotten enough referral business that they didn't have to. So
that's true too. Yeah.
You know, it sometimes it's that, you know, I talked to someone this week that was just saying, hey, you know, I used to get enough referral business that I didn't have to have a prospecting strategy.
Yep.
Times have changed and now I need to figure this out.
Times change, or you're growing, and while we absolutely still want the referrals to come in, referrals cannot be our only source. So it looks like, and I can't do these all in my head, but there's quite a number of people who say, no, we don't have a cold list, or some
disappointment.
Not really working. And others of you who, actually, there's quite a number of you who are saying yes, but the results are disappointing. So today's going to be really helpful for you because you'll get to see the campaigns and it will level set for you. What should your expectations be around the lists? So thank you for sharing them. Oh, and Don, we've used some for free, for fee lists, and now you create your own via subscription platforms. Agreed. You can create them through subscription platforms, through LinkedIn. Either way, when you have a list source, you should be cultivating a list based on your own target profile or ICP, whichever word that you use, that knowing these are the best contacts to go after. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so here are the challenges around a cold list, right? And we've heard these. You may have heard these. First of all, cold lists are not warm leads. Okay, so when you get a cold list, they are not pre-qualified. They ideally are fitting your ideal client profile or your target market and other parameters. So when we go to pull a list, we're looking at industry, company size, target contact. Those are the minimum, right, that you see in an ICP. But if you have more data, you may be looking at intent data if you have that available. So there's some level of intent that a contact has shown either from the list company that you're working with or within your own CRM, like HubSpot tracks intent as well. So there can be other things that will help you, but still they're not warm leads. Okay, they didn't raise their hand and tell you.
No, they haven't asked for you.
Mm-hmm.
Even with intent, they've asked for a topic, but not for you.
Right. And we don't know why they asked for the topic. Where are they in their buy cycle? Okay. The next challenge is people feeling like, oh, it's wasted sales time. If we're going to push unengaged prospects to sales, sales is wasting their time following up, which is true. Right?
And not true.
How about that? Go ahead. You tell the not true side, I'll tell the true side.
So the not true side is I still know that calling people is the fastest way to get a hold of them.
Absolutely.
And the
Mhm.
fastest way to qualify or disqualify somebody in my prospecting activity. So is it wasted time? Only if you have so much business that your time is actually full. I would say that there's probably more wasted time in a sales day that converting that time to this kind of time, you're still winning because it's outbound.
And what we really want to do so that it doesn't feel like it's wasted is what we're talking about today is let's warm it up first. Let's identify who are the people that we should give to sales, where through our own campaign, we're seeing, let's say, some level of intent because of how they have responded. However, if you don't have time to do a campaign and your pipeline is thin, you want to move fast, and that means it's not going to be as warm. So there are reasons why you're doing campaigns from different perspectives. And then the other challenge is that you're trying to spark interest and qualify. Okay, that's really what we're trying to do with the campaigns. Again, ideal is to get somebody to schedule a meeting, but really we want to see who's got some interest, right? Okay, so let's talk about this first campaign. And I'll share that when Lynn is working with clients, she is often training the salespeople how to prospect as well as how to follow up on campaigns. Because they're thinking that the leads that they got from them are warm, right, Lynn?
There's a lot of times when expectations have not been set, and there's a big difference between a warm up before a cold call, a true marketing qualified lead with lots of interaction with content or however they're being scored, and a sales qualified lead. And often the disappointment comes from not setting an expectation of what am I getting from a
Yeah.
salesperson's perspective.
So you make a good point that it is really important that the sales team know what type of lead am I getting so that they know when they follow up, what type of conversation are they going to have? Is it somebody who's actually waiting and excited to talk to you? Or is it somebody that it may or may not remember that they did something, took certain action? So this first campaign is what we call a very soft warm-up campaign that is leading to an appointment setter calling. And your appointment setter could be a business development person. So there are two emails. The first email is a light welcome because you've got a cold list. And remember, I said marketing gets nervous with cold lists because of all the spam laws, and rightfully you should be careful. So they send out an email that's a light welcome to make sure that we're not going to have any bounces. We're introducing who the brand is. We're trying to see who might be interested. And then you do a quick follow-up that reinforces the brand, your company, and it sets the stage that, hey, somebody's going to be calling. Okay. So no intention here of somebody setting an appointment. We're not giving them anything. We're just saying, hey, we're going to be reaching out.
Kendra, how long between that email 1 and email 2 typically?
Oh, this for us is very client dependent because we have some clients that are very reticent, but our recommendation is that you're doing it anywhere from 4 days to a week apart.
And then I would add that the appointment setter needs to be calling at least within that next 4 days.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
yeah,
you haven't really warmed it up.
Yeah. So for all of you listening, this is like a 2-week campaign and it's off to the appointment setter. And you're sending the appointment setter the whole list minus anybody who might have bounced. But ideally, you've scrubbed your list in advance. Sometimes bounces happen. Lynn, you were telling me a story about bounces.
I literally talked to someone in June who asked for a follow-up in the fall after all of the holidays, he left at the end of July. So even a list that you think is scrubbed, that first light welcome is going to bounce the people who took early retirement packages that are being offered or left the company for whatever reason. You
Yeah.
know, you don't know what happened between when that list was pulled and now, or when that data was pulled, right? So if you're using a paid list, just a month or two makes a difference.
They can. So this is the softest of the campaigns. If you're looking for opportunities in your team right away, this is not the campaign that you're necessarily going to use, but it is one that can help warm it up and make it very comfortable for a salesperson to call. So if you have a reluctant sales team who doesn't like prospecting, it's going to feel like they've got a reason for calling. So the pros of, the gentle introduction and the team that's uncomfortable. But on the negative side, you're not looking for real engagement from them. So it doesn't really set up for a great appointment conversation. So whoever you've got calling, you want them to have a very strong value proposition that they're using.
And they just need to know, right? Like, okay, we know these are real humans still working at the company. From a salesperson perspective, that alone is saving me time.
Yeah. And it gives positioning because the first two emails talked about something that the rep can then launch from. Okay. So often this is great, especially if you've got paid appointment setters. So you've got a firm, that's what they do all the time, or you've got a team that all they do is appointment setting and they're really comfortable. Okay. The second campaign is one that we run here at KLA once a month. Okay. And any of these you can run, I would say set them up and have a cadence where you're going to do it all the time. This looks like it would be a 6 to 8 week campaign. This is a 1 month campaign. And what this one does is it starts with your list and has in the first phase a set of high value offer emails. A high value offer is an asset or a resource that you have that people really like. It's one of the highest performing assets that you have, and you're leading with it in your first email to see who's going to go download it, right? So all you're doing is you're sending it out, you're offering it as a download. Phase 2 then continues on with most of all the lists that opened and clicked. And here we call it nurture and engage, but here you're going to follow up with assets that might be of interest. So another blog or another asset that they might find of interest. You're going to be doing LinkedIn posting at the same time. So now we're getting multi-channel. And you're also offering a webinar, a newsletter, and appointment options, okay? Because they've now heard from you through phase 1 and phase 2. Because we use HubSpot, we also have a fast path. So if somebody has downloaded in phase 1, we propel them forward into phase 2 for the next set of emails. And if they take action there, they get propelled forward into phase 3, which is a mini webinar. It's a 15-minute webinar that talks about whatever the topic is of your campaign in 15 minutes, giving real insight, real value, and ends with a call to action to set an appointment. Okay.
And I have to say, that is like the preview, right? Like it's like the preview at a movie. I don't have to actually engage with you yet, but I get something that shows me what it's going to be like to have that meeting.
And it's not a big commitment because it's 15 minutes. And I just did one this morning. I'll tell you they're a blast. Because in 15 minutes, you're just sharing. These are things you need to know. These are things that are really important. And our current campaign is all around AI and prospecting using AI as a resource for how you're doing your prospecting. And it's just fun to be able to share that level of information and then suggest, hey, let's have a meeting. So phase 4 is you're scoring everything and it goes to the appointment setter. And the appointment setter is going to call any of the people who are qualified. Now, here's data for you. Because it's a cold list campaign, you need to start with a big list. We start with a list of anywhere between 800 and 1,500 contacts. This particular one that I'm showing you the data from, we had a list of 1,100 people. As it progressed through the campaign, you can see how the numbers shifted. So we got to the end of phase 1 and we had 165 contacts. And then as we moved through the emails in phase 2, we went down to 110 contacts who were interested. We got to the mini webinar and there were 20. So look how your list, because it started as a cold list, gets down to just 20 who are still paying attention and interested. So your mini webinar, you're not going to get a ton of people. Go ahead.
No, but Kendra, everybody showed up. That was the thing, the part of this statistic that, like, okay, so all of this is what I like to call auto magic, right? Like, there's not a human intervention going on during those first phases. It's all been pre-negotiated, pre-set up. It's a workflow. It's systematized.
Yeah.
Anytime I can get 100% attendance with 20 new people, like, who don't know us, that's what a great morning.
We were very surprised by the performance overall, right? Because think about it. We started with 1,100 people. And in our case, it's a brand new target market because we're testing different target markets. So we don't even have name recognition. If we think about recognition ROI, we're not even in that referral recognition yet because they don't know us because we're trying to test a target market too. So it was very interesting to see the open rates. The list was really clean and we use Seamless AI, and I'll give you guys the link at the end. That was amazing to see how clean the list was. And then that people showed up, not only registered, but showed up at the webinar. And at the end, we passed to the appointment setting firm 65 contacts that they're now calling to set appointments on. So it wasn't just people who attended the webinar. We're looking across the whole campaign and we scored across the campaign who were the people that we wanted to try and set appointments with. So pretty exciting. Anything else you want to share here, Lynn? Because you were really...
No, I think, I really think that it's important to know the only human intervention is you doing a 15-minute webinar until those 65 are passed to an appointment setter.
Yes. And that the LinkedIn was human intervention.
Oh, that's right.
LinkedIn yes. Commenting. And while it could all be scheduled, reaching out to any individuals who were engaging, that was a real person doing it. But otherwise, it's all automagic, as you call it. Okay. So that's the second campaign that we would share with you. Oh, there's one other thing I want to tell you is a critical success factor. Notice we're not just waiting for them to set an appointment. What we're doing is it comes to that salesperson again. So we've warmed it all up to give to, in our case, an appointment setter. In your case, people who are listening, it could be giving it to your business development rep. But now they've got 65 people instead of 1,100 that you've picked out and told them they should call. Okay, here's our third campaign. And this is one where our client has a warmer cold list. So they have done outstanding data capture in their HubSpot, where they know who, they not only know the industries, but the things that those companies are interested in. So of everything that they sell, they've categorized like who is interested in each different category. And here they start with a gentle introduction because they may or may not have been communicating consistently with these people. And their whole goal is just to establish that contact again and pique curiosity. But because they're known within the database, it's read more frequently. Then the second email is one that is more in depth about content, highlighting things that they know that contact is going to be interested in because they've captured data about the contact. And then the third email is a very direct call to action to book a meeting or to have a demo. Okay. And then the sales rep follows up. Now, what's unique about this campaign than the other two, the follow-up occurs at the end of the campaign, unless somebody were to reply. In this one, the rep is paying attention, and the workflow is set up such that a task goes to the rep if there is any type of click or reply from a contact throughout the campaign. So the rep is doing immediate personal outreach at those points. Anything you would add there, Lynn?
The only thing as you go to the next slide is that this is kind of your existing database, right? So this is, honestly, whether it's a spreadsheet or something else, HubSpot's pretty sophisticated. This is people you've reached out to, but have never connected or have never had an appointment, right? So maybe as a rep, I met somebody at a trade show or the Chamber of Commerce, but then it never went anywhere from there. So they may know who you are, but just have never been interested before.
And notice with this one, again, starting with a big list. So they started with a list of 1250. Even though the rep was going to engage all along the way, we know that with a warmer cold list, only a small portion are going to fall out for anybody to follow up on. So a critical success factor for you is to have a big list at the top. And you can see it demonstrated by these numbers. So they started with 1,250 contacts, and as they progressed, email 1 had a 1% click rate. Email 2, 8%. Email 3, 14%. So you start to see them increasing because the information is more relevant and interesting to them, and there's some recognition. And they had 172 clickers that sales called. They had a live connection rate of 10%, which is what we tell you. If you come to any of the prospecting training we do, we'll tell you your connection rate's going to be about 10%. And our favorite number is the closed deals. So they closed 5 deals, which was 0.4% of the total list. That's why we need a big one. But it was 2.9% of the list that the salesperson called.
I think that, to me, is the biggest statistic, right? So again, from the salesperson's perspective, I'm not calling 1,250 people to get 5. I'm only calling the people that have interacted, which is why those are such different numbers percentage-wise.
So this shows you how the alignment between marketing and sales can have a real impact, right? As Lynn said, we're not giving sales the list of 1,250 and marketing the list of 1,250 and seeing who does better at the end. Instead, we're having them working together so that you get real results at the end. Sales is focused on the right people. Okay, so.
Well, and Kendra, just be aware, we just clicked to 130.
Oh, okay. We're going to go a little longer, everybody. We've got still more, but wait, there's more. Lynn was like, I know we can get through it all in 30 minutes. And I said, there's too much. We've got so much we want to share. Because I really want, my goal is that you are walking away from here understanding how the campaigns work and with a realistic view of what you can do. Interestingly, I was at HubSpot's Inbound conference, which is their user conference, last week. And the things that they shared and the data that they shared supported the data that we're sharing as well. So I was very excited that we have this event today and knew that others are seeing the same data that we are. Okay, so here's a big question. People always say, when do we pass something to sales? And this goes back to your comment about expectations, Lynn. So share with everybody when you would see passing it sooner versus when you would have them score harder and wait to pass.
If you have salespeople who don't have full pipelines, they are going to be happy with anyone they know is a live, real human who is a little bit familiar. If my pipeline is really full and I'm a salesperson, I would like you to score it harder, right? I want somebody who is closer to wanting to actually do business with us. And that's not a universal truth. So we're working with a client where one of the salespeople has lots of business that's happening and someone else, their pipeline's not that full. So how they're looking at scoring changes inside the company based on who the salesperson could potentially be. So they're passing things much sooner to one rep and much later to another.
Exactly. Yeah, do think of it from that perspective. And then, as Lynn had shared earlier, set the expectation with the rep. We scored this really lightly so that you'd have people to call. It's going to feel more like prospecting. Don't worry, that's intentional. Versus, hey, we know you're really busy. We worked and we scored these hard. These people have really been engaging. They should be ready for you. Okay. Now, there are lots of different list sources. It really is critical that you're starting with a new list. I shared each one of these campaigns clients are running on a monthly basis, and they're starting with new cold lists at the beginning of every one. Even the client that's pulling from their existing list that they have in their database, they're also feeding in contacts from events, other things that they've done. But they all start with a new list every single month because you've seen how only a small amount trickle to the bottom. And then you make a decision, which is a whole nother webinar. What am I going to do with the ones who engaged but weren't ready? And what about the ones that we were warming? But that's a whole nother topic. But these are list sources. We're using Seamless. You probably all are very aware of ZoomInfo. We have another client that uses 6sense. Apollo, if you're using Contact Science, there's an integration with Apollo. All of these are list sources that are very good. There are also private sources, list sources that you could do, as well as LinkedIn. Now, let's talk for just a moment about how you can use AI to make cold outreach more relevant. We've done a couple of Coffee with Kendras around it. We have some resources in the guides section of our website that you can download. But AI can help you with personalizing your campaign. With the one that we're running every single month for ourselves, every single month we're testing different subject lines. We actually test different times of the mini webinar. We test different assets because we use all that data to then go back and refine what we're doing in client campaigns. So use AI to figure out, well, what's the next thing that we could test? And then use your CRM, if it has the capability, to do A/B testing. You can test the tone. We had 1 month where our tone was not too salesy, but in the next month, we shifted to a very consultative tone to see what the results would be. Wouldn't surprise you that the consultative tone outperformed the not as consultative. I never am salesy. So you can optimize your timing too. AI can analyze it for you and tell you, oh, this was your best time that you sent, and tailoring just to the market itself. Lynn, you do a lot with AI as well. So are there other things that I didn't share here that you'd recommend?
I will say that, again, looking at your target market, you can ask it, like, what's the best time of day to reach VPs of sales at this size company? It will give you crazy stuff. The more data you give it to work with, the better and less generic the answer is, which isn't surprising. But I will use it to say, okay, how can I tailor this message to railroads rather than manufacturing companies? And just a little tweak in language it's the same message, but it sounds different because of the people reading it.
It aligns. It's more relatable, is what it is.
Yeah.
That people recognize it, even though there are these subtle tweaks. And AI can do it very quickly. And you already have an email that you like and is performing, but now you've made an adjustment to it. Yeah. Okay. Whoops. So I said I wanted you to be able to walk away knowing which type of campaign you want to use or having ideas about the different campaigns. Here's what you want to do as your action plan. You want to consider the soft warm campaign, the soft warm up, the multi-channel trust builder campaign, and the direct connect campaign. And based on your resources, the types of lists you have, and the data that you have, which one is the best fit for you? And we've talked about what you need for each of those. Know that sales follow-up is key. If you don't have that, it's not going to work. And then you want to manage those conversion expectations that people have. For those of you that said you've got lists, but they're not performing very well, this should give you ideas of how might you tweak what you're doing with the cold lists to improve your performance. And
your expectations. I'm going to just throw that out there. I think all of us have this expectation that we're going to perform better than anybody else. And I think that setting our own expectations is part of this as well.
Thank you. That's a very good point. Yes. If you've got those of you, especially that said, hey, we've got cold lists, it's not performing very well, we could talk about that. If you want to set an appointment and we talk about what you're seeing as results, I'm happy to do that. So let's just schedule a time for it. Okay. We don't have our poll in there, but I'm going to say put in the chat which type of cold list campaign do you think best fits your team right now? So you're thinking about both marketing and sales and the resources you have. Which campaign might be the best one for you right now? Is it the soft warm-up campaign? Is it the multi-channel trust builder? Is it the direct connect campaign? Or do you feel like, yeah, I'd like some help figuring that out. Thank you very much.
And I think it does definitely shift. If you are an owner salesperson, how much time and how hard you want to score things is going to be very different than if you have a business development rep who's looking for people to call. So I think the team on the sales side, what resources do you have on marketing? But remember that there is sales follow-up in all three of those campaigns.
Oh, and our poll is live. I love it. Look how fast our team is on the draw. Thank you, everybody. It looks like the soft warm-up campaign comes in at 50%. The direct connect campaign at 37%. and the multi-channel trust builder at 12%. So we've talked about each campaign, what you need to have in place, and the best way to implement it. So take what we talked about today and use that. And the good news is you can try one, and if it's not working the way you like, you can try another one, or you can split your lists and do both simultaneously if you've got the resources and the sales team to do the follow-up of it. So feel free to do any of those. You've got great direction there. All right. Now, I want you to put it in action. You've determined which ones you can use. And I'm going to start by saying that you should schedule a 30-minute planning meeting. There is no charge for this. If you are trying to figure out the best way to proceed, or you want to review the data of your campaigns and make direction, or you just want to have some ideas, in this one-on-one session, we'll talk just for 30 minutes. We'll review your current cold list campaign strategy. We'll discuss a bit about your sales team or the person that you, salesperson, since they're a critical success factor. We'll identify the best campaign approach for your team right now, and then we'll explore how we might support you. Okay, so you've got all of that is what we'll do, and you will leave knowing which campaign approach is the best one for your situation. Then download the slides, lots of information, lots of data, including the campaigns that we ran. So you may have done screenshots, but I'll tell you the PDF is a heck of a lot easier to work from. So go get it. There's no charge, and you don't have to have scheduled a meeting to get that. And if you don't have a list tool, I've included the link to seamless.ai. You could go set up a trial and test that. Yes, it is a referral link. I'll tell you, we earn a whole $5 if you decide to use it. But more importantly, I like to be upfront, okay? We find that it is very useful. We've been very impressed that there have been such low bounce rates, and it's an affordable tool for the companies that we work with. And for our clients, it integrates with HubSpot, which is a tremendous productivity saver. So do check it out. But I'm going to say, go put those in action now. Okay. And we've got a lot happening. Okay. I want to talk about our next Coffee with Kendra for a moment, and announcements about our Coffee with Kendra webinars overall. And if you have any questions, make sure you've put them in the question box. Our next Coffee with Kendra is addressing a real shift that's going on right now. In marketing, you may have noticed that there's a significant drop in inbound traffic on your website. And in sales, you may have noticed that selling requires a lot more follow-up than you have done in the past, and it's harder to close. Both of those are a direct result of AI. It's proven. The data is there, and we'll show you some of that in the next Coffee with Kendra. That's where answer engine optimization comes in. And so in our next Coffee with Kendra, I'm going to share how to reach B2B decision makers in the AI search era with SEO and AEO. We're going to explain what's happening and what you need to do about it. And it impacts both marketing and sales. Donnell Wilcox is a marketing manager here at KLA who is helping her clients navigate through these shifts, and she's going to be my guest. So use the QR code and register. This is not one you want to miss. We are absolutely on the forefront of this, and so you'll get some great insights.